Okay, students, so assignment 2, let's talk about this. First thing I'd like to do is go to your assignment briefs and web courses. If you open up the assignment 2A and 2B brief, just let you do that. And while you're doing that, I'll open up my own. And again, I'm not going to read everything on the brief here just in this lecture because it would get very tedious. But the key things you need to know are as follows. Assignment 2 comes in 2 parts. 2A is your annotations. So if you hear me talk about your annotations, that's assignment 2A. That is due at the end of week 7. So that's Sunday, 13th of October. You know the drill by now, 11:59 p.m. must be in the upload to web courses. I cannot take assignments via email. Okay? Assignment 2B is due a week later, and that's your little peer review follow-up part. Your peer review part is pretty self-explanatory. It's where you look at someone else's annotations on the course and give some feedback. So let's start with the annotations. So if you look at the brief outline on the assignment brief, this assignment develops the close reading skills you started to hone in assignment 1. You'll conduct a 1,000-word annotation of an extract of your choice. As with assignment 1, the text choices are, you guessed it, poems, William Carlos Williams, and again, both poems count as a single text, so you can annotate them both. Sweat by Zora Neale Hurston, Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, and Sylvia Plath, The Belcher. So, the annotations. How exactly do I complete this assignment? What on earth am I doing? You are going, and again, I've put kind of like 11 steps here that will really help you, but I'm just going to tell you in brief what you need to do. You are going to choose an extract from one of the text. It can be the extract that you used for assignment 1, that's absolutely fine. You don't need 2 extracts, don't make that mistake. 1 extract, 1 text, that's it. The whole aim is to really focus in just on 1 text and 1 author. So it's kind of like a close reading. Your extract needs to be a sensible length. I really would suggest around 3 pages max from the text. Like any more than that, you'd be kind of overwhelming yourself. You are going to copy and paste your extract into a Word document. And again, this is why I've kind of said to you, Microsoft Word, you need it. And again, in the office, think about this, you're going to be using Word so much. Once you get the extract into the document, you are then going to annotate it. So what I mean by this is kind of the complex part of your assignment. In Microsoft Word, there is an option to add comments. If you don't know how to do this, it's really easy. I'm going to actually do it now as I'm talking to you, just so I can read the exact instructions. You hit review, and then you hit new comment. But you have to hit new comment when you've highlighted the part of text that you want to comment on. So the aim is, what you're going to really produce is a commented on text that you've marked up with your comments about where you see certain theories in the text. Now, people have different approaches to this. You can do it in one of 2 ways. The first way is pretty self-explanatory. So the first thing that you can do is some people like to take maybe 2 or 3 quotes from every theory that we've done so far, so from weeks 1 to 6, which we're in now, and then they like to add maybe a kind of comment for each quote. That's absolutely fine. They could say, for example, you know, here I can see post-structuralism in here because I see the death of the author here or something like that. Okay, fine. And then they might say, in this part of the text, I can read a post-colonial reading into it. Wonderful. Okay, that's perfectly fine. However, I will say that the approach that I think most people benefit from kind of most, and I'm not saying don't do the other one because I've seen some really good grades either way, is actually when people just hone in on 2 or 3 approaches. For assignment 1, I asked you to think about 3 approaches that you might use for each text. This is why. If you've already got your quotes for, let's say, psychoanalysis, Marxism, and I don't know, let's say we did formalism, then you're already halfway there. A lot of you are already starting to think about quotes. You know, you've got these notes where I've said, take the quotes down, take the quotes down. I've got the ones in the slide we've just talked about for Marxism, for example. This is where you can start to apply them to your text. So I think that sometimes an assignment really is best seen to understand it. If you go along to slide number 12, I've put 2 model examples in so that you can see, just kind of how on earth you're really meant to be approaching this. Now, these aren't perfect, they weren't perfect grades. They have their flaws in some ways. I'm sure you'll spot some of the flaws in them. But they're good in terms of the fact that they get to the, they just say, here we can see this part of this theory, and this is why. That's the key thing. Here's how to lose grades on the assignment. This is what you do if you wanted to lose a grade. You would pick an extract of text and you'd say, okay, here I can see post-colonial theory. Here's a quote from Chinua Achebe. I'm reading ahead, of course, to week 7, I think it is, or 8 when we do it. And I'm going to take this quote here and just say, oh, it fits. Why? Why? Why does it fit? How do the characters represent it? Who represents which thing exactly? Think about the Marx examples that we just had. Let's say that you applied the Marx quote and just said, oh, here we see the division of labour. Okay. How? Who? Who's divided? Tell me who. Be specific. So you're going to kind of feel like you're making really obvious signposts. It's going to feel a bit formulaic almost, but I need it to be. I need you to treat me, the reader, like an alien who doesn't have any idea what these theories are, and I need you to tell me exactly how you see them playing out in the text. So let's go back to the assignment brief again. When you've got your comments in there, when you're happy, when you've got your 1,000 words of annotations, remember, your comment boxes need to total 1,000 words. Again, how you do this is up to you. I've seen some really good different approaches. Some people will have 10 boxes, 100 words exactly each box. Nothing wrong with that, very meticulous. Some people would choose instead to say, well, actually, I think I might have around 50 words in this one, and then I'll have maybe 75 words in this one. That's fine. Your job is to make sure your comments total 1,000 words. Another surefire way of losing a grade, of course it is to not do 1,000 words. If you're doing 500 words, you're doing half the work. I'm going to see that. I'm going to think, hang on, their comments feel very short. Oh yeah, look, they've done half an assignment. Don't let that be you, okay? If you are equally thinking, I know, I'm going to do 2,000 words, don't. I can't grade it. I won't give you any more credit. And to be honest, it's a total waste of your time. Part of the precision that you will learn when you comment on documents, and you'll be expected, let's say you're in editing or law or even the medical field, you will have to write reports, you'll have to write concise information in neat, brief little comments. You'll often be sent a document through Microsoft Word and they'll say, oh, add your comments. This is you adding your comments. If you go and add an essay into each comment box, your reader's pretty much going to lose interest very quickly. So use your own sagacity, use your own judgment. Another way to lose marks, this is a really obvious one, is I know I'm going to have some quotes, but I'm not going to cite them. That's plagiarism, you know that. As the assignment brief clearly states, have a look down at the, let's go right down here. Your assignment must contain in-text citations. This means putting your page number and your author. So Marx, 689, whatever. You are not going to be using Rivkin and Ryan's introductions primarily. Why not? Why can't you go quoting from Rivkin and Ryan all the time? Because Rivkin and Ryan are not your theorists. Anybody can look through the literary theory and say, oh, Rivkin and Ryan say that. Yeah, but what about the original theorists? That's who I want you to be using. If you can tell me what Rivkin and Ryan say about Marxism, but you can't tell me a single quote from Marx's The German Ideology, you're not going to do too well. Again, self-explanatory, but I have to restate that. I think it's fair that everyone gets a chance to get a good grade. What I've actually done to make sure that everyone cites properly, if you look on the second page of that assignment brief, I've given you exactly how to cite. I've even given you bits you can copy and paste for certain citations. You don't need a works cited list because you don't have the word count for it. But what I'd recommend, if you're going to be really, really on top, is you're going to get those works cited. Your works cited, remember, is your bibliographical entry. You're going to write them down anyway. And remember, most of them are on the syllabus like it. They're already included in the course pack like it, so you really don't have any excuse. You can just copy and paste them. You're going to get them because when you come to do your final essay write-up for assignment 4, which is you telling me all about how you're going to apply 3 theories in detail, you can then already have your work cited there with all of those lovely little nicely put in citations. So again, to recap, to pass this assignment well, you've got to have the in-text citations in the parentheses with the author's name and the page number. This is no joke. You don't have it, I will fail you. You will get a 40, which is a 0, like a fail, okay? Don't mess around on that one. So, what else could we do to get a really, really good grade? Well, we could actually, as I said before, we need to talk about how the theory applies. We don't just need to say, oh, here it is. Yeah, okay, connect it. Don't be afraid to go further in your connection. For assignment 1, I know I said to lots of you, don't be afraid to go further with these ideas. This is where you wax lyrical. This is where you make an argument. Again, I've put in those model examples some examples of how you construct that argument in your comments. So that's your annotations. That's how you're going to annotate. What you're then going to do for assignment 2B, and if we just look on the second page of that assignment piece, this is when you give your peer review. I'm going to keep this part very simple. After you submit your annotations on the 13th of October, you will immediately, upon submission, be assigned a peer review partner. You are going to download their Word document. You are going to then add 500 words worth of comments in reply to their comments. Again, the brief tells you exactly how to do this technically, how do I download it, how do I hit reply, I've put it all in there. But in a nutshell, this is you downloading someone else's assignment and hitting reply to their comments and just saying, yes, I agree here. However, you're not just going to say that, are you? That would be very easy. You need to add 500 words reviewing their comments. Now, that doesn't mean trashing their comments, and we'll have a discussion perhaps about, well, I've put on page 3 of the assignment, this is what not to say, Saying something like, I like your application of the theory here. It's totally inadequate. It doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? I like this. Okay, I don't care if you like it. Tell them why it's good or bad. Give them some constructive critique. Be specific. Tell them that yes, you understand that they could have done this, but could they actually also extend that notion to X or Y? And perhaps they could include this specific quote here, which I've taken. So you can see this is how you start to create a good peer review. Your peer review, you only get a week to do it because it's so easy. 500 words is nothing. You can do it in an evening. However, don't underestimate it. Here's an example again of how not to do the peer review. So let's say that you download it, a couple of days before the deadline. Okay. And then you rush through and you just add some wishy-washy comments. Oh yeah, I like that. Oh, that's okay. That's not going to get you a good grade. So don't underestimate it. You are only getting, if you have a look at the grade breakdown at the top of the assignment brief, it's 15% for the annotation, 5% for the peer review. So you're looking at 20% altogether. 150 points are on your annotations, 50 points are on your peer review. But you don't want to lose those 50 points by doing a bad peer review, okay? Your peer review will then be uploaded to your partner so that they get some feedback, as well as my feedback. They'll get some feedback from a different source. What's the point of the assignment? Why are you doing this? Because you're going to use the feedback from it to feed into assignment 4, which is where you write your big theoretical essay on how you see 3 theories in one text. If you do this assignment too well, you really do have a good starter, because what most people do is they'll say, well, I already picked out one extract for assignment 2 from the bell jar and I analysed it through these 3 theories. That could be the first half of my essay for assignment 4. All I've got to do now is find another example from the bell jar to analyse, and then another one, and that's it, I'm there. And that's pretty much true. So that's how you do assignment 2. To recap on your dates, Sunday 13th of October, your annotations are due. That's not extendable. Here's why. If you submit your annotations late, your peer reviewer can't review. That's a problem. You're stopping someone else from getting their grade. I can't allow that, so you cannot submit late. No late grades. It cuts off Sunday 13th of October, 11:59 p.m. If it's not there, it can't be graded, okay? Your peer review is then due at the end of week 8, so Sunday 20th of October, you're then going to upload your peer review, and you're going to get that there by 11:59 p.m. and that's assignment 2 done. Okay, very, very simple. Any questions on this, I'm right here by email. I am doing virtual office hours, so you do have that access to me all the time, even though we're not face to face so much for the next couple of weeks. But again, anything you need, I'm right here, okay? Thank you for listening to this. I hope this guide has been helpful, and I'm looking forward to seeing any queries that we have. When you tune in for Thursday's lecture, I'm going to be talking to you about sweat and Marxism in a little bit more detail. If you go back to the PowerPoint, you will see I put a drafting activity here for you on slide 13. If you do that, it will really help you just feel confident about assignment 2. And then next lesson, Thursday's lesson this week, we are going to be doing Zora Neale Hurston's Sweat and Marxist Theory. Let's also go back to our syllabus and look at our reading quiz and just make sure that we're all on track with that. Again, I'll give you a couple of seconds to pull your syllabus up if you need to. If not, you can kind of just run with mine. If you look down at our deadlines, you will see that we do not have a reading quiz this week. Phew, it's nice, isn't it, when they stop? In fact, our next one isn't for a little bit of a while now. It's at the end of week 9, which is the 24th of October. Okay, so no quizzes, and it's really just because I want you to think about how you're doing assignment 2. Okay, fantastic.